Hello and welcome to the Past Functional Skills video solutions for the NCFE Functional Skills English Level 2 December 2019 reading paper. Before watching this video, make sure that you've read the sources associated with this paper and had a go at answering the questions yourself. Okay, so question 1 refers to document 1, so we need to focus on document 1 here. And it's asking us which word best describes the style of document 1. So style is basically the way in which something is written. So it's closely linked with tone, so sort of the overall feeling of the text and how it's written. So the options for this are A, descriptive, B, instructive, C, informative, or D, persuasive. So let's have a look at the options. So is it descriptive? Well, if we look at the document, it is not particularly descriptive. There's no sort of descriptive language techniques such as metaphors or similes or emotive language. So we wouldn't say it is a descriptive text. So with B, instructive, well, there's no sort of steps or instructions to follow here. We have got numbered bullet points, but they're more for the subheadings. And they're not really sort of instructing the reader to do anything. So we can say that one is incorrect. C, informative. Well, if we look at the document, we can see that it is sort of informing the reader on something. We've got these subheadings, so we've got proposal, reasons for tree removal and appeals. So these are informative subheadings aimed to sort of increase the reader's knowledge on a topic. We've also got the title of the report here, so Report on Roadside Tree Removal in Weighton. So it's really informing the reader on roadside tree removal. So we can say that C is the correct answer. And then we've got D, persuasive. Well, there's no persuasive language really used in this. It's not trying to get the reader to do anything in particular. It's simply just trying to inform them. Okay, so question 2, give one reason why the writer has used each of the following organisational features. So we've got A, subheadings, and B, a lettered list. So we need to look here as to why the writer has used these two different organisational features, and we only need to give one reason for each of their uses. So here, if we look at subheadings, so if we scroll up to the report, we can see the subheadings here, and we can see that they are sort of dividing the report up, so it's sectioning the report to make it sort of easier for the reader to access it. So the answer students put is to divide the different sections of the report up so that the readers can find specific information about the tree removal proposal. So that would be correct for subheading usage. So then B, we've got lettered list. So if we scroll up again to the report, we've got a lettered list here, so it's just a different way of using bullet points really. It's the same as sort of numbered bullet points, so you might use a lettered list when you want to show something in a specific order perhaps. But also here, it's being used to sort of split up this big chunk of information here. So rather than having a big paragraph here, we've got these lettered bullet points here to sort of split the information up. So the answer we've got here is to make it easy to locate different information within each section, such as the number of trees to be felled and the number of traffic accidents. So that would also be correct for lettered list. Question 3. Section 2 states that there has been a 20% increase in tree removal over the past decade. Where has the writer taken this information from? So for this question, we need to look in the text where we can see this information. So this information, 20% increase in tree removal over the past decade, that's going to be somewhere in the text. And then what we need to do once we've found that is work out where the writer has taken that fact from. So where has the writer taken this information from? So if we scroll up to the text, we can see it is here. So it's in under number 2 subheading, and it's in section C. So the number of trees with disease or damage has resulted in a 20% increase in essential removal over the past decade. So we need to work out where the writer has taken that information from. And we can see just here we've got a tiny little 2, and this is what we'd call a reference. So it's common in these sorts of documents such as reports. You might also get it in a factual newspaper article. So we can see that we've got this little 2 here in what is called the footnote. So this section of the report is called a footnote, and we've got the 2 reference here. So what that is showing you is where the writer has taken that fact from. So the answer to this question would be the writer has taken the information from the Weighton Council District Plan 2016. So we know that that's right. Okay, so question 2, give one reason why the writer has used each of the following organisational features. So we've got A, subheadings, and B, a lettered list. So we need to look here as to why the writer has used these 2 different organisational features. And we only need to give one reason for each of their uses. So here, if we look at subheadings, so if we scroll up to the report, we can see the subheadings here, and we can see that they are sort of dividing the report up. So it's sectioning the report to make it sort of easier for the reader to access it. So the answer students put is to divide the different sections of the report up so that the readers can find specific information about the tree removal proposal. So that would be correct for subheading usage. So then B, we've got lettered list. So if we scroll up again to the report, we've got a lettered list here. So it's just a different way of using bullet points, really. It's the same as sort of numbered bullet points. So you might use a lettered list when you want to show something in a specific order, perhaps. But also here, it's being used to sort of split up this big chunk of information here. So rather than having a big paragraph here, we've got these lettered bullet points here to sort of split the information up. So the answer we've got here is to make it easy to locate different information within each section, such as the number of trees to be felled and the number of traffic accidents. So that would also be correct for lettered list. Question 4. Identify a group of people Weighton Council suggests would benefit from its plan to remove tree roots. So for this question we need to infer from the source. So we need to find out a group of people Weighton Council suggests would benefit from the plan to remove the tree roots. So if we have a look at the source, we can see here in section 2A, it says many trees and tree roots are damaging both pavements and road surfaces. This can cause severe problems for pedestrians with mobility issues, and it lists these other people. These are the groups of people here. So while it doesn't actually say that they will benefit, we can infer from the source that this is the case because currently the trees and tree roots are damaging pavements and road surfaces, which is causing problems for these people. So you only need one group of people from any of these. The answer here the student has put is pedestrians who are visually impaired, but any from that list is fine. So question 5, what is the meaning of the word binding as used in section 3A? You may use a dictionary to help you answer this question. So, as this question says, you can use a dictionary to help you answer this question, but we also need to look in the source and find this word so we can identify the correct context it's being used in so that we know what it means in the dictionary and which definition is the correct one. So if we look up the word binding in a dictionary, we get 3 definitions. So the first one says a strong covering holding the pages of a book together, so that's the binding along the spine of a book. So the physical binding. A mechanical device fitted to a ski to grip a ski boot. So that's also a physical part of something that's called binding. Or we've got the definition of it as an adjective, which says an agreement or promise involving an obligation that cannot be broken. So we need to have a look at the word in the source, have a look at the context, so we can work out which one of those definitions fits, and then work out a word which summarises that definition. So we know it's in section 3A, so if we scroll up to the source, we can see that section 3A is here. So let's have a read of that and see where we can find the word binding. Residents will have the right to appeal against the removal of any tree within 30 metres of their property. Their complaint will be considered by the council, who will issue a binding decision within 4 days of receiving the complaint. So in this context here, out of the 3 definitions that we talked about, we're not talking about skis, we're not talking about books, we're talking about a decision. So an agreement or promise involving an obligation that cannot be broken would be the right definition here. And in this context, it means mandatory or an obligation. So for this question, something along the lines of mandatory or obligatory would be correct. Okay, so now we're in section 2. So in this section we need to look at document 2, so we can forget about document 1 for now. We need to answer all the questions. So question 6, Della Tree Care, DTC, entitles their leaflet Caring for You and Your Environment. Give 2 examples from the document that demonstrates DTC's care for the environment. So we need to find 2 examples in the document that demonstrate DTC's care for the environment. So if we scroll up to the source, we're looking for the word environment. That would be a good place to start, and we can see from there their opinion on the environment. So we've got, straight away we can see we at DTC pride ourselves on our commitment to the environment, so that's demonstrating that they care about the environment. We've got, our aim is to help local people like you enjoy the pleasures of our green and beautiful land. We've also got here, well, we never want to get rid of trees, we love them just as much as you do. So they're saying they love trees, which demonstrates another care for the environment. So we need 2 examples. So I've given you 3 there, but there are others in there. But the 2 that the student has given here, we at DTC pride ourselves on our commitment to the environment. And no material from the trees will end up in a landfill site. So both of those answers are correct, as they're demonstrating how DTC cares about the environment. Question 7, identify 1 example of each of the following in document 2. So A, a fact, and B, an opinion. So basically we need to identify 1 fact and 1 opinion in document 2. So remember, a fact is anything that can be proven. It's a non-negotiable, sometimes can be a statistic, or it can just simply be something that can be proven. An opinion is just that, someone's opinion, so something that can be argued the other way, and it can't be proven. So here the student has said trees may be infected and dying from the inside as a fact, so we can see that here in the source. So these are some of the more hidden reasons as to why trees need to be chopped down. You could also have either of these 2 as facts, and you could also have our workers are fully qualified. We couldn't have our workers are friendly and considerate as a fact, because that can be a bit subjective, so someone might not think that they are friendly but someone else might. But we can verify that they're fully qualified, so you could have that as another fact. And for B, an opinion, so an example of an opinion, remember this is something that can't be proven, it's someone's thought or feeling. So here the student has put our green and beautiful land as an opinion, which is here. That can't be proven, some people might think it's not green and beautiful. We could also have, we never want to get rid of trees, we love them, so love is an opinion, it's their opinion on trees. So any of those would work. So the student here has put our green and beautiful land, but you could have any of those as an opinion. Question 8. The writer of document 2 has included 2 images. What problems relating to trees are illustrated by each of these images? So again, we're looking at document 2 and we're looking at the images included in the document. And from the images we need to infer or have a look at what problems relating to trees the images are showing. So let's have a look at the 2 images. So we've got this one here which shows a very big tree in front of what looks to be some houses. And then we've got this image here which looks to be a tree's roots coming through the road surface. So from these images, we just need to describe what the images are showing for this question. So from these images, we can see that trees have grown too big and are stopping light from entering houses. And we can also see that tree roots are damaging road surfaces. So both those answers would be correct. Question 10. What organisational feature has the writer of document 2 used to give examples of why trees need to be removed? Okay, so remember, an organisational feature is just something that organises the text. So for example, bullet points, subheadings, headings, images, captions, anything like that. Something that breaks up the text for the reader and makes it easier to sort of access. So we're looking for the organisational feature that the writer of document 2 has used in order to give examples of why trees need to be removed. So the answer here is bullet points, but let's have a look in the text as to where we can see that. So we can see here that they're saying, but there are some other more hidden reasons too. And we can see up here that it's saying, however, sometimes trees have to be chopped back or removed. So we can see here that these are reasons given as to why the trees need to be removed, and the organisational feature used here is bullet points. So we can say that is correct. Okay, section 3. So the questions in this section refer to document 3. So forget about document 2 now. For now, we're going on to document 3. So question 11, give 2 words that best describe the tone of Theresa Frank's letter. So here we are looking for tone. So tone is the overall mood or sort of feeling of the text that the author's trying to put across. And we need to give 2 words that describe the tone of Theresa Frank's letter. So let's scroll up to the source. So we can see on the source we've got 4 different letters. And we need to look for Theresa Frank. So we can see that that is here. So yours faithfully, Theresa Frank. And we can see that this is quite a frustrated letter. She doesn't seem very happy. She's saying it has taken the council years to deal with the problems caused by trees on our streets. She seems a little bit frustrated with how long it's taken them. We've also got quite a sarcastic phrase here, so at last. We've also got trees might be nice to look at in the countryside, but not outside my house. So it's quite a frustrated, sarcastic tone. We've got exclamation points. We can see that she's quite angry and frustrated. So the answer here is frustrated and sarcastic. You could also get away with angry. Something like that. Question 12. What does Harry Singh imply by writing that DTC sound good on paper? So we're looking for the implications. What does he imply by this phrase? I.e., what is the underlying meaning? So he's not literally saying it. It's sort of a phrase, a commonly used phrase, and we want to know what the underlying meaning of that is. So the answer here is that he implies DTC workers are supposed to be good, but they're not in reality, as they make noises early in the morning. So we can see that in the text. So we can see Harry Singh's letter here. And we can see in the context of what he's written. So as for the contractors, DTC, they sound good on paper, but less so at 7:30 in the morning when their machines start up. So this is quite a sarcastic phrase. He's not saying literally what he means, but he's saying that they sound good on paper, so they sound good with what they've written and what they've described themselves as, but they are quite loud at 7:30 in the morning, so he doesn't seem very happy. So that's the answer for that one. Question 12, what does Harry Singh imply by writing that DTC sound good on paper? So we're looking for the implications. What does he imply by this phrase? I.e., what is the underlying meaning? So he's not literally saying it, it's sort of a phrase, a commonly used phrase, and we want to know what the underlying meaning of that is. So the answer here is that he implies DTC workers are supposed to be good, but they're not in reality, as they make noises early in the morning. So we can see that in the text. So we can see Harry Singh's letter here. And we can see in the context of what he's written. So as for the contractors, DTC, they sound good on paper, but less so at 7:30 in the morning when their machines start up. So this is quite a sarcastic phrase. He's not saying literally what he means, but he's saying that they sound good on paper, so they sound good with what they've written and what they've described themselves as, but they are quite loud at 7:30 in the morning, so he doesn't seem very happy. So that's the answer for that one. Question 13, Anna Pukas likes trees and understands the council's policy, but has some concerns. Identify two of these concerns. So we're looking at Anna's contribution, and she understands the council's policy, but she has some concerns, and we need to identify two of these concerns. So if we scroll up to the source again, and we can see Anna's contribution is here. So we can see in the source here that if we have a quick scan, this is quite a positive paragraph. So we can kind of see that she thinks that the trees need to be culled and they've become infected, and this is why Waiting Council is dealing with these problems before the situation gets worse. So in this paragraph, she's quite understanding of Waiting Council's decision. And then we've got this phrase, having said that. So this basically just means, despite having said that, so despite all of this, she has some reservations. So this might be where we're going to find our concerns that we need for this question. So we can see here that she's saying that they've taken down 2 healthy trees on our road and they've left 2 diseased ones standing. So that's a concern that she's got. We've also got their glossy leaflet stated that their workers were fully qualified. And we've got fully qualified in quotation marks here, which suggests that she's being a little bit sarcastic. So she doesn't seem to think that they are fully qualified. So we've got 2 concerns there. So she doesn't think that they're fully qualified, and she is upset that DTC has felled some healthy ones and left some diseased trees still standing. Question 14. The letter from Mr. E. Caruthers contains a number of rhetorical questions. Give 2 reasons why he has used these. So we're looking for rhetorical questions in the letter from Mr. E. Caruthers, and we need 2 reasons as to why the rhetorical questions have been used. So if we go back up to the source, and we can see that this contribution is here, and we can see that he's used a number of rhetorical questions. So do trees affect house prices? Do trees damage houses? Do people feel upset? Do I care? So he's used rhetorical questions here almost like subheadings. So he's used them to introduce each topic. So that is one reason. So he's used them to introduce different aspects of the topic by considering questions that readers may ask. And he's also used them to get the reader to engage with the topic of urban trees and come to their own conclusions based on his questions and answers. So rhetorical questions are a good persuasive device, so it kind of makes the reader feel like the writer is talking to them directly. So he's getting the reader to engage with the topic of urban trees by doing that. Okay, so section 4 is your comparison section. So the questions in the section refer to multiple documents. So Question 15, compare the views expressed by Teresa Frank in document 3 with the information given in document 1 and how these views are conveyed. So we need to compare the views expressed by Teresa Frank in document 3 with the information given in document 1, as well as how the information and views are conveyed. Okay, so the mark scheme for this question states that for 3 marks we need to show a clear and explicit comparison of views expressed by Teresa Frank in document 3 and document 1 with examples from both sources. So, in other words, we need to refer explicitly to both documents, compare them, and we need to give evidence from both documents. So the student here has written, Teresa emphasises her positive opinion of urban tree removal using exclamations like at last. She also emphasises the negative impact that the trees are having on the community, explaining that the tree roots sticking out of the pavement mean I can't use my child's buggy safely. Document 1 similarly emphasises the negative impact of the trees on the community. While Teresa uses a personal anecdote to achieve this, Document 1 uses a range of impersonal facts and statistics, like the number of road traffic accidents with vehicles hitting roadside trees has increased by 35% in the past 5 years. While Teresa uses descriptive methods such as adjectives to convey her opinion that trees in the countryside are nice to look at, Document 1 only considers the negative aspects of trees and does not include a range of adjectives or personal opinions. So in here we've got Teresa's views, so her positive opinion on urban tree removal, how it's conveyed, so through exclamations, and we've also got evidence, so we've got quotes from the source. Same with document 1, so we've got comparison here. While Teresa uses a personal anecdote to achieve this, document 1 uses a range of impersonal facts and statistics, so we're comparing the two. So we're saying Teresa uses a personal anecdote, but document 1 uses impersonal facts and statistics. So it's 2 different methods. So we're comparing the methods there. Again, here we are comparing again. So while Teresa uses descriptive methods such as adjectives to convey her opinion, document 1 only considers the negative aspects of trees. So throughout, we're making sure to compare the documents, compare the views, compare how the views are expressed, and also using evidence and quotes from both sources. Question 16, analyse all 3 documents and explain which is the most biased. Provide examples from all 3 documents to support your decision. So important things to note here, we need to look at all 3 of the documents. To get the marks here, you need to make sure you're talking about all 3 of the documents, not just 1, not just 2, all 3. And we need to say which one is the most biased. So biased here just means it's coming down more heavily on one side of an argument or the other. So we need to say which is the most biased. And we need to make sure we provide examples from all 3 documents to support our decision. So we need to provide quotes or evidence from all 3 of the documents. So if we read what the student has written, so document 2 is the most biased as it is a persuasive advertisement written by a forestry company. The writer highlights the merits of the company, explaining that their aim is to help local people, and using the rule of 3 to emphasise that they have a friendly, considerate and fully qualified workers. Document 1 is the least biased as it adopts a formal tone and presents facts and statistics with very few personal opinions or adjectives. It gives the option for residents to appeal against the removal of trees, so is not heavily biased towards their removal. Facts such as Waiting Council plans to remove 2,100 roadside trees mean that the document is principally informative rather than persuasive and is therefore less biased than document 2. Each contributor to document 3 is somewhat biased, but overall the document is less biased than document 2 because it gives a balanced range of opinions. While Harry is horrified at the prospect of cutting down trees, Teresa is pleased that now things are happening and the trees are being cut down. So here the student has talked about each document. They've done it in 3 paragraphs here, so it's easy for the examiner to see that they've answered the question fully. So here the student has correctly identified document 2 as being the most biased. And they've said why, so they've linked this to the purpose, so it's persuasive advertisement written by a forestry company, and then they've used quotes which support this idea. So they've said it is the most biased, what makes it the most biased, and given evidence that supports that. Similarly with document 1, so we've said that document 1 is the least biased, and we said why, so it adopts a formal tone and presents facts and statistics. So facts and statistics are likely to make something a lot more objective, and there's very few personal opinions. And again, we've got some quotes in here, so facts such as Waiting Council plans to remove 2,100 roadside trees. And then finally, we have talked about document 3. So we said document 3 is somewhat biased, but overall the document is less biased than document 2, as it overall gives a balanced range of opinions through the different letters. And then we've got a couple of different examples of why that's the case. So Harry is horrified, but Teresa is pleased. So overall in this question, you need to make sure that you're talking about all 3 documents, saying which one is the most biased and why, and making sure that you're giving quotes and evidence from the text to back up your points.